This is Ryan Elliott for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I'm delighted to be joined via Zoom by Adam Blue Nose Lopez today. Adam, it's been a while since I've seen you. How have you been keeping, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. Staying busy, staying healthy, and staying out of trouble.
That's good to hear. What have you been doing to keep busy during this sort of lockdown? We'll come on to your fight news, but I've seen little snippets of you and Buddy managing to still be together in the gym. How have you found it all?
Yeah, I mean, when the quarantine first started, I stood home, stayed away from everybody. I just quarantined, like I was supposed to. And then I think after about a month, Buddy came back to LA. We started getting back in the gym, started training, and then about a week after, they called us for a fight date. So it kind of worked out pretty good.
That's good. Now, by the time this goes out, your fight news will be announced, so don't panic when I start talking about it because it hasn't been released just yet. But you're going to be back in the ring June 11th on a top-ranked belt. Talk to me about that fight news, how that came about, and how excited you are to get back in the ring as well.
Yeah, I was honestly shocked that they got me back in so soon after the quarantine. I didn't know fights were going to start coming about that quick. But like I said, we started training for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. And then they called us for the fight, and they asked, how's Adam looking? Can he be ready in about a month? And Buddy said, yeah, he's good. He's ready to go. He's in maintenance mode. His weight's good. Give us 4 weeks, and we'll be ready. So we took it like that, and yeah, very excited to get back in the ring after such a big previous fight, and I want to show the fans what I've been working on.
Now you're going to be facing Louie Korea, I believe. I think he's 12-2. How much have you seen of him? What do you expect from him from the fight as well?
So this is the third time we're trying to fight the kid. We were supposed to fight before Oscar Valdez. Then we were supposed to fight April 11th, and then the quarantine happened. So now we're going for the third time. Hopefully nothing happens, and we can get this match set. But the bits that I've seen from his previous fights, he's a tough kid. Definitely got that Mexican style, come forward, wants to bang it out with you. I think that falls perfectly into my game plan because I could do a little of that, and I could do a little bit of boxing. So I'm gonna go in there and work on what Buddy got me working on. Use my jab, have good defense, and just go out there and do my thing.
Now, there has been some fighters in the last couple of weeks sort of saying, whether publicly or privately, that they're happy to wait until the crowds return. They don't really want to fight behind closed doors. You're from fighting stock. You're a proper fighter, man. I'm guessing that was never, ever going to be an option for you. You're happy to go and just fight behind closed doors.
Yeah. I mean, a fight's a fight. You know, when you're in there, you're not worried about the fans. You're not worried about the cameras or the press too much. You know, you just want to go in there and focus. But at the end of the day, it's great feeling that energy in the crowd when you land a big punch and the crowd's roaring, or when you're walking out to the ring and the crowd's chanting your name or whatever. It brings something out of you. But we're gonna see who the real fighters are and who could really bring that out of themselves without that energy that they get from the crowd.
Now, we've talked about the fact that your stock went through the roof from that Valdez fight, not only with the fans, but Top Rank stood up and took notice of your performance as well. Is it something you're conscious of to deliver a performance, not just to get the victory, but to look good as well on June 11th?
Definitely. Now I got more eyes on me, and I would say this fight's more important than the Valdez fight because if I don't do good this fight, they might just say that last fight was a fluke, or he just got lucky. It was his lucky night. But I'm gonna show everybody, all my fans, my doubters that I got what it takes, and I'm gonna show you what I could do.
Now, Adam, I spoke to Buddy last week, and he told me that he's not necessarily in an immediate rush to throw you back in at the deep end straight away, which is something you've been accustomed to sort of throughout your career. Earlier on in your career, you took on so many of these unbeaten guys at such a young age. What was it that made you want to keep taking those risks?
I think I was just young, and I had something to prove. I was an amateur that didn't have too many amateur fights. I didn't win any amateur tournaments. So I knew once I got to the pros that I'm gonna take on these undefeated fighters, and I'm gonna beat them, and I'm gonna beat every single one that comes my way. I lost to Stephen Fulton, which is a great champion. Much respect to Stephen, but yeah, it was just something in me as a young man. I just wanted to prove something. I wanted to make some noise and do something that none of these fighters out here are doing. They're picking and choosing who they want to fight. if you come to me and you want to fight, okay, let's set it up and let's make it happen. That was just my mindset at the time. But now, as I'm growing and I've been in the business for a little bit longer, I'm understanding it's more of a business than me against you. We all got to make some money as well. It's all got to make sense. So now I'm listening to Buddy and my team, and we're making the right choices.
You mentioned you're making the right choices there. You've got Buddy advising you now, obviously, with Sheer Sports to do a great job of guiding fighters as well. During that time when you're taking on these challenges, you mentioned the Fulton Fight, among many other unbeaten fighters. I think 6 of your first 10 opponents were unbeaten guys. What's Buddy saying to you during that time?
Right before I fought Stephen Fulton, so I was supposed to fight Stephen Fulton in September, and I had gotten sick about a week before. I was in the hospital, and we canceled the fight. And then I told my manager at the time, like, okay, now that I'm better, let's set up that fight again. And Buddy kept telling me, he's like, you don't need that fight. There's no need for that fight. He's like, let's say you go in there and you beat him. He's like, now you beat another undefeated kid. Now no one's going to want to fight you. He's like, you're just putting yourself in a bad spot. You're fighting the kid for no money. It's going to be on TV. You get some exposure. But he's like, it makes no sense. It's not a smart move. But my big head got in the way, and I was like, no, let's do it. We're going to fight this kid. And, you know, whatever happened, happened. And, I mean, I still showed who I was that night. It wasn't my best fight, but I learned.
Now, since you sort of switched management teams, you got Sheer Sports behind you, and you're working away with Buddy there. And it seems like you matured a bit as well to understand that there's a process to the pro game, and it's not just about bull rushing at the nearest opponent and taking whatever's there. How has that change in management team and sort of that grown-up process sort of helped your career as well going forward?
Well, I mean, like I said, I learned the hard way. I took those tough fights, and I was winning most of them, and then I lost the last one in the Fulton fight. But yeah, I learned the hard way. It was a learning process. I'm still very young. I still got a long career ahead of me. Yes, I did just sign with Sheer Sports, a great management team. We got a great, solid team. I know they got my back no matter what. So I know moving forward, I will not be in a position like that unless it makes sense.
Now, Adam, I'm not going to dwell on the Oscar Valdez fight because you spoke to Rob about it when we were in Vegas. We've talked about it before, but, you know, you did give a great account yourself, result aside. Did that just sort of reaffirm your belief that you're heading in the right direction? You can reach that pinnacle when your time comes around?
Yeah, it kind of just it just proved that I got what it takes to compete at that top level. Because even that night, that wasn't the best Adam Lopez. I know I'm a lot better than that. I didn't have the best training camp. I was going through a lot of things outside of the ring going into the fight. I really only trained about 3 weeks for the fight. It was kind of just, I was like, all right, let's take it. I need to make some money right now. I was in a bad spot with my old manager. Then I found Sheer Sports, and they really helped me out. So I kind of just, going into the fight before I was supposed to fight Valdez, I wasn't 100%. But I was like, you know, I'm a fighter. I know what I could do, and I know I could beat this kid. And then they offered Valdez, and it just brought something out of me that I was like, okay, I gotta shine. I gotta take this opportunity because I don't know when it'll come again. And I went into the fight, and I did my best.
When you assess what's around you in the division now, and particularly when you look ahead at the guys that are at the top, the guys at the belt, is there anyone in particular you've looked at in that division and thought, that's a guy I'd like to face down the line?
Yeah, just about everybody at 126. Conlon, Shakur, you know, the people who got the belts, the people who are ranked in the top 10. You know, I don't study the division too well, but I know the people who are making money, and obviously everybody wants those fights so we can all make some money. But like I said, again, it's got to make sense. I know I got to get ranked. I'm not even in the top 10 yet, but hopefully after this fight or the fight after, I can get in the top 10, and then I can start, you know, calling these kids out and getting these fights made. I know Shakur is thinking about moving up to 130, but he still has his belt at 126 because I heard he wants to unify with what's the other champ?
Warrington.
Yeah, that's a great fight as well. I'd love to see that fight. But yeah, I know I'm gonna be realistic with myself. I know I'm not at the level yet in the rankings wise, but I know I can compete and beat these guys.
It's interesting you mentioned the Shakur Stevenson Josh Warrington situation there. Shakur was really eager for that fight. It looks like Josh Warrington is going to be facing Kanzu instead when the lockdown's lifted. But if Shakur and Josh Warrington were to meet, who would you see getting the edge in that fight? How would you assess that fight?
You know, their styles match up perfectly. Shakur the boxer, Warrington's going to come forward and try to break him down. So it's just whoever wants it a little bit more that night, I think will be successful. They both are very tough champions. Shakur is smart. Josh is tough. So, you know, that's a fight that the fans need to see because that's an exciting fight right there.
Now, one thing I wanted to get your thoughts on, Adam, I don't think we've asked you about this before, but among many top fighters, you've sparred with Vasily Lomachenko. I wanted to talk about what that is like, sharing a ring with Vasily Lomachenko. What stands him out as so special when you're in there with him?
You know you're at that top level when you get in. As soon as you walk into the gym, it's very serious. They're not playing no music. They're there for work. They're there for business. You get in there and, you know, he's got so much experience. You know, he might just like you seeing what you got at first, and then he's like, all right, let me turn it up. And he'll turn it up like he flipped on a light switch, like out of nowhere, boom, you're in a fight now. And it feels like you're in a fight and he's trying to take your head off. But it was such a great experience, you know. I love Lomachenko. He's such a great fighter. I have so much respect for him. He takes the sport so serious and he has all the discipline in the world and he's very talented. But it was just a great experience, you know, to mix it up with him. And, you know, I think it was very good work for the both of us. So that also just reassured me like, okay, I can mess up. I could mess with these guys at the top level.
Now, we expect him to face Teofimo Lopez. I asked Buddy about this, and he actually boldly predicted Teofimo to beat Vasily Lomachenko. Adam, who would you lean towards when that fight does go ahead when this lockdown's lifted?
Yeah, I think that's an exciting fight as well, and much respect to Teofimo Lopez for going for the top dog because I believe he's the top dog in that division. I think it's a 50-50 fight. I think Teofimo, he got the hunger, he got the power, he got the speed. He's very athletic. He's young. I mean, he got what it takes to beat Lomachenko. Lomachenko got the experience on him, so it's kind of like the Warrington and Shakur fight. Who's going to want it more that night? Who's more focused? Who prepared well? Who's the better man that night? And, you know, I think it's a 50-50 fight. I think I would lean more towards the Teofimo. I think he's got something in him that I feel like he hasn't let out all the way yet. I think he's still got a lot to prove.
Now, Adam, just a couple more before I let you go, but I just want to touch on your relationship with Buddy McGirt. And if you could you just sum up not only your friendship with Buddy, but how he's changed you both as a fighter and as a human being as well in the 4+ years you've been working together?
Yeah, Buddy is like a father figure to me. Inside, outside the ring, life, boxing, he's got me all the time. He looks at me and I know I kind of remind him of himself when he was younger, and he tries to mold me and show me how to do certain things and not tell me how to do them, but just like, hey, this is how you should do something. You know, think about it like this. When you're home, think about this. You know, try to think about this and that. And you know, Buddy, he's such a great guy. You know, genuine, and I got a lot of love for the man and him and his family. Great people. The McGirt family is amazing. You know. Buddy is, yeah, he's part of my family now for sure. But yeah, we got a tight bond for sure.
Now, you guys have been working together for a long time now, as I mentioned, over 4 years, but particularly since that last fight, which was November, I think. What sort of things have you guys been working on together specifically for going forward?
We're just fine tuning things, you know, getting things sharp. He keeps telling me every day, he's like, look, you're at that top level now. You're at that next level where these guys aren't going to let you just do what you want to them, how you've been doing. Because I go in there and sometimes I could have fun and I could do what I want. He's like, you got to stop all that. You got to focus. As soon as you get into the gym, forget about everything. When you're in the gym and you focus on what you got to do. He's like, this is serious business. He's like, you're at that top level and you got a target on your back now. He explained to me, he's like, what you did to Valdez, these kids coming in here to spar you, they want to be able to say, oh, I beat up Adam. I did this to him. or in your fight, whatever. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you got a target on your back. So he's like, you got to just step it up. You got to keep stepping it up. And I mean, it's a tough business, you know. Sport is not easy, but I know I got a lot to prove as well. And I know Buddy believes in me, and my whole team believes in me, and we're going to make it happen.
I found it interesting when I was looking back through some of the old interviews, Adam. You said when you first started with boxing and your mother finally came around to the idea, you said you wanted to do this to carry on the legacy of your father, but there came a point where you realized, I'm going through all this, I need to do this for me as well. What are those ultimate aims, those ultimate goals that you've set yourself for your time in the sport of boxing?
You know, it's a very challenging sport. Nobody wants to wake up and go run. Nobody wants to wake up and go spar and diet and sacrifice and miss out on birthdays and holidays. Nobody likes to do all that, but it's challenging. And for me, it's a challenge for myself. And I just want to challenge myself. You know, I like a competition. I just want to see how far I could really take this. And I know I got a long way to go, and I know I got a lot to prove. But yeah, it's something inside that I gotta prove for myself.
All right, Adam, thank you so much for your time. I'm not going to keep you any longer. I appreciate it's very early, your part of the world. The sun is shining here, and we're a bit later in the day. But thanks for doing this and setting the time aside. Good luck with training. I'm sure we'll speak to you after your fight as well.
Thank you.